Welcome back to the ACC tip-off event in Charlotte, North Carolina. We welcome R.J. Davis to the David Glenn Show here on the North Carolina Sports Network. I can't believe I haven't asked you this question until you're a senior, but when your last name is the same as the head coach's last name, do you get any of that, well, he treats you differently like he's your son type stuff?
No, not really, but I do get a lot of like, oh, he's like, is he like your uncle or something? But it's kind of cool just to have, my last name and his last name be the same. So
your journey here has been amazing in some ways and a roller coaster in other ways, right? How do you put into words experiencing both the stunning run to the national championship game 2 years ago, and yet a massive disappointment going from preseason number one to missing the tournament entirely the second year?
Well, I think my path was destined the way it was and set up the way it was just because I think that's my journey, and I think that's what God has set for me. But just in terms of going to a national championship run, probably like the greatest feeling I ever felt, like basketball period, and just in terms of the following year, last year, not having the year that we wanted to, I just feel like that's something that was needed. It's just like a little bit of a humbling experience, and to kind of take a step back a little bit and reflect, and then come back stronger next year.
I don't know how your AAU or high school ball worked, but a lot of times you get to grow up with guys your own age. They're your teammates. Mm-hmm. This is a different animal, right? This is a sport with 13 scholarship players, and you said goodbye to 7 outgoing transfers and then 2 guys who went on to professional basketball. Can you build closeness and togetherness and chemistry in a really compressed period of time?
Yeah, I think that's what's been so great. It's definitely hard to say goodbye to the guy that you came into college with, because those are relationships and a brotherhood that's gonna go beyond basketball and beyond our time at UNC. But I think what made our chemistry so good so far was what the new guys have made it easier for us, especially the returning players. They came in with open arms and a personality that's fit the locker room. It's a vibe that's different, but it's a good different, and that's something that I've definitely been impressed by, and it's definitely something that's been going well for us.
I know you guys are looking forward, but one more question about the past. Caleb Love was quoted as saying he was hurt by the way his exit interview went with Coach Davis. You're roughly the same age. You guys spent a lot of time together, ups and downs. How do you describe to those who are not in your locker room what went right, what went wrong, and why it just felt like it needed to be him getting a fresh start somewhere and you guys moving on without him?
Well, I think, like you said, at the end of the day, we're all kids and we're all, trying to figure our lives out and trying to figure things out. And I think sometimes it can be a mental toll. And I think, change is sometimes needed, for both sides. And I know Caleb, that's like my brother to me and forever will be. We were college roommates before, COVID started to spike up. Me and him and Dayron, so and we went to national championship together. So that's something that's going to go beyond UNC and stuff like that. But I think change is sometimes needed, and I know for us and for the players that have left, they're going to be great wherever they are, just because of who they are as a human being and who they are as an athlete. Earlier
today, you mentioned competitive edge. You mentioned grit as things that maybe you didn't have enough of as a team a year ago. What newcomers have shown those things, and where does that show up? Are you talking about grit in games? Are you talking about grit in practice, grit when the coaches aren't around? How do you build that in the right direction?
I think it's a mix of the all. In games, in practice, coaches not around, open gym. But I think it's because they're all coming with a chip on the shoulder. They're all coming with a mindset and mentality of they want to win and they're doing whatever it takes to win. And I think that's what's special and what's needed. I think they're all ready to fulfill their role, and I think this would be something great for us because sometimes that competitiveness is needed and it pushes one each other to go to that limit and go above that. So I'm here for it.
As we let you go, R.J. Davis of UNC here on the David Glenn Show. I'm just curious, man to man. I'm about 6 feet tall. I feel like I'm looking you eyeball to eyeball. Yeah. I don't have nearly the skill that you have. But in my normal life, I feel like a normal-sized dude. Same. I even feel somewhat tall sometimes. And when I come to events like this, I feel tiny. This is your world all the time, man. So what's it like going into the paint I guess if you're walking around campus, you feel like a big dude. But
Yeah,
if
man,
you're
if I'm
driving
walking
in the
around
paint,
with
you feel small.
I mean, if I'm walking around campus, and if I'm just like by myself or like a teammate my size, I feel fine. But if I'm walking around like Mondo, like Jay Witt, it's just like annoying. You know what I'm saying? But going into the paint, I think I have confidence going in. I know I'm going to make the layup, or I know I'm going to make the tough finish. So I'm definitely able to finish amongst the trees.
That's a great phrase. Might be a broadcaster someday. You're a lot of fun to watch as a player, and I appreciate your time today on the David Glenn Show.
Appreciate for having me. Thank you.
You got it. R.J. Davis of the University of North Carolina, back for a possibly super senior season.